Hello everybody, and welcome to Fictional Fantasy number 2. Today I'm going to be talking about two characters from one of my personal favorite animes and mangas, which would be Fist of the North Star. Alright, the fighters in this video are going to be Shin, he's the guy with the long blonde hair, and Rei. They're both Nanto Seiken Masters. Nanto Seiken is basically, it's just a fictional martial art where they get to, basically their movements of their hands or limbs allow them to cut through the air currents, and they manage to actually cut through people. They can cut through really hard objects such as, steel like it's nothing. Both Rei and Shin belong to a group called the Nanto Seiken, which is like, the Elite 6 Nanto Seiken users out of the 108 branches of the Nanto Seiken style. Alright, so just to get a quick understanding of the character, Shin's basically he's the first main antagonist of the series, and Rei's he's Ken's first friend that helps him out in missions and stuff. That is actually a significant fighter. He'd be like, if Kenshiro was like Mario, Rei would be kind of like Luigi. He's like his first buddy that he just teams up with. So my personal thoughts though on both characters. Shin's a character like I've pretty much always liked from when I first saw him, and thought he was really cool, and I've always had like a special thing for first villains I see in a series. Like Dragon Ball Z, Cell was the first villain I ever saw, so he's been my favorite. Shin isn't my favorite villain of the series, but he's definitely a real special one to me personally. And Rei, I wasn't really a big fan of Rei when he first showed up, because he showed up really after Shin died. It was kind of like he just felt like he's Shin number 2 basically, which kind of hurt him. And he had some early on stuff with Mamiya where he kind of came off a little kind of perverted. He seemed a little bit like creepo kind of early on, but the second time he kind of does something to where it was alright. I kind of liked it a little bit because he was more or less just trying to save her life in the scene. So in time though, the more I saw Rei, the more I definitely started to like the character and appreciate him. So he ended up becoming he became a character that I liked a lot. Still quite a few more characters I like more, but he really grew on me. But now the main point of this video isn't to tell you which one I kind of like more. It's just to say who I think would win in a fight between the two. And there's a little bit of a problem with Shin, because if we're just going by like just the manga, like the the canon, which is the thing everyone would consider canon, is just the manga. Shin really doesn't have a lot of feats at all. He only fights really one person. He fights the main character twice, and I think he fights some giant dude in like just one scene where he's out conquering for in Uria's name or something like that. But so he doesn't really have a lot of feats. So I'm kind of since I've mainly watched the whole anime, I'm gonna I'm gonna include the feats in the anime and for them, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about some other outside sources like the guidance and stuff, but I have a lot of problems with those, so I'll kind of end up dismissing those for the most part. Most people that talk about this fight, everyone seems to think it'd be like a really even fight, and it's definitely a hard one to dissect. But just looking at this book, there's like a book out that has power levels of all the characters from Fist of the North Star in it, and Shin and Rei, the way they do it, it's kind of like they're actually exactly the same. In power, they both have a 3. Speed, they both have a 4. Skills, they both have a 4. And looks and charisma, they both have 4s also. Looks and charisma aren't going to play any part in the fight, but they're exactly identical on every stat according to the book. Personally, I don't always agree with the book. I'll put the name of the book or whatever the power sets for the guys are in the description. But yeah, I don't really always agree with it all the time. But it should be noted, like, power levels aren't like Dragon Ball Z power levels. Like Shin or Rei at any point, if they ran up against Kenshiro, who's the main character of the series, even at the very end of the series when Kenshiro's like at his strongest, if Kenshiro just stood there, they could both kill him like very easily with like an attack. It's not like Dragon Ball Z where like Tien can do his best attacks he can against Super Saiyan 3 Goku at the end, and he wouldn't be able to do anything to him really. Maybe he would die before Goku would. The power levels don't work like that. They hardly ever do. There's only like really maybe one circumstance where there's something like that kind of happens, maybe 1 or 2, but that's about it. Alright, let's go back to their styles. Now, they both practice Nanto Seiken, but they don't exactly use the exact same style. Like, there's different styles of karate and kung fu, too. So their particular styles of Nanto Seiken are different. Shin uses Nanto Koshuken, or South Star Lone Eagle Fist, and Rei uses a Nanto Seiken, South Star Waterflow Fist. Yeah, granted, my Japanese pronunciation might be a bit off, but just to talk a little bit more about their styles, Shin uses more of a stabbing kind of style with like his hands, and Rei uses more of a slicing style. Both of them tend to use some aerial attacks also in their offense, and it should be noted like Rei's style is usually considered the most graceful, and he's really great with it and all. But Shin's style, he's very direct with his attacks and very quick to finishing people off when he seems to engage them throughout the series. Since the two characters never fought, I think the best way to just try to figure out who won would be to just look at their other fights and see who they beat and how good they looked in defeat against the opponents they lost to. Okay, so first we're going to look at Rei. Rei was in the series a lot longer, both in the anime and in the manga, so he definitely got to fight a lot more, but for the most part he was just basically got to beat up on like nobodies. A lot of times Kenshiro would step in and fight other people, all the named opponents, which was kind of sad. It was kind of annoying because I wanted to see Rei fight a lot more often than I did Kenshiro, because you see Kenshiro fight like all the time. And like I remember one fight where he goes up against these two twins that are guarding the gate to Cassandra, and Rei gets like hurt, kind of like he just gets just cut on his face. He almost gets killed, but he avoids it, and then Kenshiro kind of steps in, so it's kind of disappointing. Same with the Fang Clan. He didn't fight the boss of the Fang Clans. He didn't fight that monster guy either. Kenshiro just seems to handle like almost all the big fights for Rei. As far as any noteworthy opponents that Rei beats, he beats some guy with nunchucks that, I think Rei comments that he has some skill with them, and he does show off of it with them. Rei beats him pretty quickly, and then Rei beats Judah. That's the main, guy that he beats. Be his biggest victory, I think, in the anime and in the manga. Judah's another member of the Nanto Seiken guys. So anyway, Judah, or Yuda, depending on, so a lot of these characters have alternate pronunciations. According to that book, he's a level B fighter. He has a power of 3, speed of 4, skills are 4, looks are 5, and charisma's 3. And this is kind of like one of the problems I have here, because I think in the story, Yuda's like jealous of Rei because he actually thinks he's better like looking, I guess, than him or something. And according to the book, Rei only has his looks are a 4, so it's just kind of one of the little problems I have with the book. It doesn't always, I don't really agree with it. I just don't agree with it all the time. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Anyway, though, Judah, he's not really an impressive fighter, though, in the series. I don't really remember beating anybody, noteworthy. He's just more like an underhanded kind of character, kind of like Jaggy. He's if he's a B level, he's, in my opinion, he's one of the lower level B fighters. And all the other things I read about him, that are non-canonical, he always looks bad in those too. He makes him look even weaker, and he's when Rei was fighting him, Rei was dying already, and Rei didn't actually have much trouble with him at all until like he used some of his minions started helping Judah or whatever. If it hadn't been for the interference, it didn't even look like Yuda was even really hit Rei at all. So I'm not really impressed with him that much. But I mean, he did make it to the Roku Seiken, so he obviously had to be a pretty great fighter. So I shouldn't take too much away from him. Another fight that I just saw rewatched Rei winning was against some guy. I think the video called him Zorgi. I don't really remember the character too well. He used like these acid kind of capsules when he was fighting him, and Rei ended up getting hit by him too when they were fighting. I don't know if this may have been Rei after he was kind of sick and dying or whatever, mortally wounded, I should say. Now another area we could look is at the Fist of North Star, the movie, the animated one. In that, Rei also gets to fight Uger, I guess, the Warden of Cassandra, that character, who's also considered a B-level fighter. He has a power of 5, speed of 3, skills 3, Looks 2, Charisma 3. Ray managed to beat him. He beat him pretty easily, though. You know, after just a couple attacks, Ray managed to take him down. You know, he didn't want to toy around with him much, but you know, he said he just wanted to fight Rao at the time. But he did kind of mess around with him a little bit, which should be noted. But it was a pretty big win. He beat him a lot easier than Ken did in the series, which could mean that maybe he just wasn't as tough in the movie, but you know, or it could just mean that, you know, Ray's style was better, you know, equipped to take out someone like him. Being a big fan of the series, I've read some other sources, other material about it, like the Big Gaiden series, and I read Ray's, and in that he beats the guy Rofu, who's like his master at one point, and Rofu was considered to be, you know, just about as powerful as Souther's master. And Souther, for those who don't know, is like the leader of the Nanto Seiken. He's by far the strongest, and he's in the position of leadership to them all. And that position's pretty much always supposed to be the strongest of them. And so I wasn't really sure if Ray would be able to beat somebody like that or not. And in addition to that, Rofu kind of humiliates Judah, who's Ray's actual only, you know, great win, I guess, in this, you know, in the series and canon. So that kind of hurt him. Then there's just other things in the Gaidens that are often problematic for me, where they just feel like they get the characters kind of wrong, and you know, in them they don't come across right at all. To me, like in it, Ray comes across this, or in the manga and in the anime, Ray comes across Mamiya, who I mentioned earlier, and he's kind of impressed with her because she's all like she's, you know, brave and she's a fighter, and he kind of admires her for it, but he kind of just wants to protect her too. But in the series, in the Gaiden series,